Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to come and visit with you for just a few minutes today. I tell my pastors back in Pierre that I think the ultimate in terms of the timing on a sermon would be 7 minutes. And I think that's the amount of time they're giving us today. So now I have my own challenge in front of me. I'm the oldest of 11 kids. Many of you know that. It's Mike, Mick, Doc, Doug, Tim, Dan, Tom, Pat, Steve, Scott, and Jamie. Dad's still with us. He's 86 years old. We've got, Gene and I have 4 children, and we have 6 grandchildren. We hope for more grandchildren. I've had the privilege of working for the people of South Dakota in an elected capacity. 10 years in the South Dakota legislature, 6 as the majority leader, and then 2 4-year terms as governor. I can tell you that I have enjoyed it, but it is truly a job. And I think that's the way most people would like their elected officials to look at things, as working at a project as a job and not as a position. I can also tell you that I've enjoyed working with Larry Roden. Larry and I have been friends. We are still friends. And we have worked together on projects across the state time and time again. Things don't happen unless people work side by side. Things don't happen unless you bring people together. Working as a governor, I found time and time again when it came to emergencies, and Larry talked a little bit about the emergencies that we've had in eastern and western South Dakota and about the way that people have handled it out there. I can tell you that that's one thing that government should be actively responsible for, is in helping people in times of need. We should respond. That's what we want people to do. South Dakota, I think we have a little bit of common sense that maybe they're missing in Washington, D.C. It's one of the reasons why I'm asking people to consider my candidacy for the United States Senate. It's because Washington, D.C. is broken. America is not. Our challenge is to bring a little bit of that common sense from the rest of our country back to Washington, D.C. Think about this for just a second. We have a national government that has racked up a $17 trillion national debt. Now, there are some people up there that will stand up and they will say, and you know what, I'm not going to raise any more taxes. But in the meantime, they send the bill to our kids, and that's wrong. So we've got to approach this thing a little bit differently, because if we want the next generation to have the opportunities that we've had, number one, we shouldn't be saddling them with our debt for promises that we make and we can't afford to pay for. We provide entitlements for individuals thinking it's nice, but we don't have the guts to pay for it ourselves. We fight wars because we think it's in our national interest to do so, and we send young men and women overseas. But then we don't take care of our veterans. It's time to change. The federal government has tried to become something for everybody, and they do nothing right. Time and again, whether it's in education, they try to control our education. State government, local units of government should be actively involved in education. The federal government should get out. When it comes to regulatory oversight, you take a look at where our challenges are, and businessmen and women that are here right now trying to make a living. Time and again, I hear our businessmen and women tell us that the biggest obstacle they've got in making a profit, employing more people, is not outside competition, it's not foreign governments, it's not natural problems, it's not natural disasters, it's our federal government overstepping, trying to tell everybody what they think should be done across this country. And yet many of those folks in Washington, D.C. have never had a job in the private sector. During the time that I was in the legislature, I continued to work in my job just like every other state legislator did. When I left office as governor, I went back into the private industry again. I've got insurance agencies at 5 locations. I've got my son working with me. I love it. And we want to pass that on. The challenge for us is to bring the common sense that we use in South Dakota to D.C., to stop spending money that we don't have, quit making promises that we can't keep, and along the way, start talking about the principles that our founding fathers expected the federal government to honor and to cherish. Can you imagine our founding fathers looking at what's happening in our nation's capital today, where we have a Congress and a president who have decided what we can buy and what we can't buy for health insurance and health care, and how we can take care of ourselves? Obamacare, I know it's expensive. I know that they have yet to tell us how much it's going to cost us. But the real problem with Obamacare is that they are controlling 18% of our national economy with Obamacare. Healthcare makes up that much. It's something which is so important to all of us because good healthcare makes the difference between living and dying and quality of life. If the federal government can decide who gets healthcare and under what conditions and what you have to pay for in your healthcare and what you're required to pay for that you may not want to pay for, then they can also make the decision about what you can't have as well. That's not the America that I want to deliver to the next generation. We've got 6 grandkids. I look back at what America's provided to us, to Gene and myself. I can't sit back and let this country go the wrong direction. I'd love to stay in Pierre. South Dakota is a great place to live, to work, raise a family. But if we want things to continue for the next generation, we all have to stand up and to do what we think is right. That's the reason why I'm running for the United States Senate. We have to have results. It's not rhetoric. It's not just standing up. You have to put together the teams and make things happen. The United States Senate is controlled by Democrats. They have failed to deliver. The presidency has failed to deliver. And what change there has not been to our benefit. We can change that. We can bring South Dakota common sense back to our nation's capital. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason that I'm running. Our founding fathers understood the value of religious freedom. They believed that every one of us should be able to worship the good Lord the way that we see fit, whether it be in a church, synagogue, mosque, mountaintop, or cathedral. That message has continued to be delivered across this country and protected. Thank you very much for the opportunity to visit with you today. May God continue to bless our country and help us to preserve that which our founding fathers delivered to us. Thank you.